I never thought my life would implode because of a plain brown envelope. But there it was, sitting innocently on my doorstep when I got home from dropping Oliver at daycare. No return address, just my name, Harper Quinn, typed neatly on the front. I almost tossed it in with the junk mail. My hands were full of grocery bags, and I was already running late for a client consultation. But something about that envelope nagged at me. Maybe it was how precisely my name was centered, or how the paper felt expensive between my fingers. Inside were photos. At first, they didn't make sense, just random shots of downtown Seattle. Then I saw him. My husband Caleb, walking into the Fairmont Olympic Hotel. Another shot showed him at their bar, leaning close to a woman with long dark hair. The final photo punched the air from my lungs, Caleb kissing her in the elevator, his hands tangled in that same dark hair. The timestamp showed these were taken just 3 days ago, when he'd told me he was pulling an all-nighter at the office for a product launch. My phone buzzed. A text from Caleb, running late tonight. Big presentation tomorrow. Don't wait up. I stared at his message until the screen went dark. The lies felt different now, weighted with proof I couldn't unsee. 2 years of marriage, a beautiful son. And countless late nights at the office started realigning themselves in my mind like puzzle pieces, finally showing the real picture. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Lily, still on for coffee tomorrow? You've been MIA lately. I hadn't told anyone about my suspicions. How Caleb's shirts sometimes smelled of unfamiliar perfume. How he'd started keeping his phone face down and taking calls in another room. I'd buried those doubts beneath the routine of caring for Oliver and managing my freelance makeup clients. It was easier to pretend everything was fine. But now, I laid the photos on our kitchen counter, the one Caleb had insisted on upgrading to marble last year. Everything in our house suddenly felt like a prop in some elaborate performance. The family photos on the walls. The matching coffee mugs in the cabinet. Even Oliver's artwork on the fridge seemed to mock me with its bright, innocent colors. My hands shook as I texted Lily back, "Actually, can you come over tonight? Need to talk." Then I called my afternoon client and rescheduled. I couldn't possibly focus on making someone else look beautiful when my own life was crumbling. I spent the next hour going through Caleb's things, looking for what? More evidence? Some explanation that would make this all make sense? In his closet, I found receipts for restaurants I'd never been to, tucked into jacket pockets. A small jewelry box from Tiffany's hidden behind his winter sweaters, definitely not something I'd ever received. The front door opened at exactly 6:15 p.m., right on schedule. "Honey? Why's your car still here?" Caleb's voice carried upstairs, confused but not worried. "Not yet." I looked at myself in our bedroom mirror, smoothing my hair and straightening my shoulders. The woman staring back at me wasn't the same person who'd walked through that door with groceries this morning. That Harper had been naive, trusting. This Harper had evidence scattered across her marriage bed and rage simmering beneath her skin. "Up here," I called out, surprised by how steady my voice sounded. "We need to talk about your late nights at the office." His footsteps paused on the stairs. In that moment of silence, I could almost hear the gears turning in his head, crafting explanations and excuses. But I had photos that told the truth, and soon he'd realize that his carefully constructed double life was about to come crashing down. I picked up the envelope and waited for my husband to walk into a conversation that would change everything. The dinner table felt like a minefield. My mother kept glancing at Caleb's empty chair while Dad pushed his pot roast around his plate. Oliver, blissfully unaware of the tension, happily smeared mashed potatoes across his face. "Another late meeting?" Mom's voice carried that edge I'd grown to hate, the one that said "I told you so" without actually saying it. "Product launch," I replied automatically, the lie tasting bitter on my tongue. It had been 3 days since I'd found the photos, and I still hadn't confronted Caleb. Each night, he'd come home with perfectly crafted excuses and gentle kisses that felt like betrayal. You know, Harper, Dad set down his fork when your mother and I were starting out. James, Mom warned, but he continued. No, Margaret, she needs to hear this. When we were young, I worked 2 jobs to keep us afloat. But I never missed Sunday dinner. Not once. I focused on wiping Oliver's face, grateful for the distraction. Caleb's company is different. Tech startups are demanding. Too demanding to see his son? Mom's question hung in the air like smoke. My phone buzzed. A text from Caleb, sorry, babe. Meeting running long. Tell your parents I'm sorry to miss dinner. Kiss Oliver goodnight for me. I showed them the message, watching their expressions darken. The same expressions they'd worn when I'd announced my engagement to Caleb 3 years ago. They'd never said it outright, but they'd seen something in him that I'd been too in love to notice. I should get Oliver home for bed, I said, standing up. It's past his bedtime. Mom followed me to the door while Dad got Oliver ready. Sweetheart, is everything okay? You seem different lately. For a moment, I almost told her everything. About the photos, the lies, the nights I lay awake listening to Caleb shower as soon as he got home, washing away evidence of where he'd been. But telling her would make it real, and I wasn't ready for that yet. I'm fine, Mom. Just tired. She hugged me tight, and I had to fight back tears. You know you can always come home, right? You and Oliver both. The drive home was quiet except for Oliver's soft snoring from the backseat. I took the long way, passing by Caleb's office building. His car wasn't in its usual spot, but I hadn't expected it to be. I wondered if he was with her right now, in some expensive hotel room, while I drove our son home alone. When I pulled into our driveway, I noticed a woman standing near our front door. For a wild moment, I thought it might be her, the dark-haired woman from the photos. But as I got closer, I recognized Lily's familiar silhouette. Surprise, she called out softly, noticing Oliver asleep in my arms. I brought wine and that terrible reality TV show you love. Inside, after putting Oliver to bed, Lily poured us each a generous glass of red. Okay, spill. You've been avoiding me for days, and you look like hell. I pulled out my phone, scrolling to the photos I'd saved. Someone sent these to me. Lily's sharp intake of breath said everything. She flipped through them slowly, her expression hardening with each swipe. That son of a bitch. I don't know what to do, I admitted, the words finally breaking free. I haven't confronted him yet. I keep waiting for. I don't know what I'm waiting for. You're waiting for it not to be true, Lily said gently. But Harper, you need to. The front door opened, and Caleb's voice called out, Honey? Why are all the lights still on? Lily and I froze, staring at each other. My phone, with the damning photos still displayed, sat between us on the coffee table. Footsteps approached the living room, and I had to decide, face him now, with Lily as my witness, or continue pretending everything was fine. I reached for my phone just as Caleb walked in, but I wasn't quite fast enough. His eyes caught the image on the screen, and for just a moment, his carefully maintained facade cracked. After Caleb's hasty retreat from the living room that night, I couldn't sleep. His laptop sat on his desk, taunting me. He never logged out, why would he? We'd always trusted each other. Or at least, I'd trusted him. The clock read 3:17 a.m. when I finally sat at his desk. His password was still Oliver's birthday. Some things hadn't changed, even if everything else had. I didn't know what I was looking for until I found it, a second email account, hidden in his browser history. The username made my stomach turn, cfoster.private@gmail.com. Real creative, Caleb. The inbox loaded, and there she was. Vanessa Reed. Dozens of emails, stretching back months. My hands shook as I clicked the first one. Last night was amazing. I can't stop thinking about you. When can I see you again? Date stamped 3 days after Oliver's second birthday party. I kept reading, each message worse than the last. Lunch meetings that turned into hotel afternoons. Weekend business trips that were actually romantic getaways. Plans, promises, declarations of love, all while I was at home, raising our son, believing his lies about late nights at the office. Harper? I jumped. Caleb stood in the doorway, his hair messy from sleep. For a moment, he looked like the man I'd fallen in love with, vulnerable, real. Then his eyes fell on the laptop screen. I can explain, he started. Explain what? My voice sounded strange, distant. How you've been sleeping with your coworker since our son turned 2. Or how you took her to Paris last month when you said you were at a tech conference. He stepped forward. It's not what you think. Really? I turned the screen toward him. Because I think it's exactly what these emails show. You and Vanessa planning your little rendezvous while I'm at home, being the perfect wife, the devoted mother. Lower your voice, he hissed. You'll wake Oliver. Oh, now you care about Oliver? The laugh that escaped me didn't sound like my own. Where was that concern when you were missing his doctor's appointments for your afternoon hookups? His face changed then, hardening into something I didn't recognize. You want to know the truth? Fine. Yes, I'm seeing Vanessa. Yes, it's been going on for months. Because with her, I don't have to pretend to be perfect all the time. She doesn't look at me with disappointment when I work late or miss a family dinner. No, she just looks at you naked in hotel rooms while your wife and child wait at home. He flinched. That's not fair. Fair? I stood up so quickly the chair crashed backward. You want to talk about fair? I'm going to show you fair. I grabbed my phone and started forwarding the emails to myself. Caleb lunged for the laptop, but I blocked him. Don't, he warned. Think about what you're doing. Think about Oliver. I am thinking about Oliver. I'm thinking about how I'm going to explain to our son why his father is a lying, cheating. A cry from down the hall cut me off. Oliver, awakened by our fighting. We both froze, the sound of our son's distress cutting through the tension like a knife. I'll get him, Caleb said, moving toward the door. No. I stepped in front of him. You don't get to comfort him. Not anymore. As I walked to Oliver's room, I heard Caleb call after me, Harper, please. We can work this out. I'll end it with Vanessa. I'll do whatever you want. I picked up our crying son, holding him close, breathing in his innocent scent. It's okay, baby, I whispered. Mommy's here. Over Oliver's shoulder, I watched Caleb hovering in the doorway, his face a mask of regret and desperation. But all I could see were those emails, those lies, those betrayals playing on repeat in my mind. Pack a bag, I said quietly, still rocking Oliver. I want you gone before we wake up. Harper. And Caleb? I met his eyes, letting him see all the hurt and anger I'd been holding back. Tell Vanessa she can have you. I'm done. Oliver's sobs quieted to hiccups as Caleb's footsteps retreated down the hall. In the darkness of the nursery, I made a silent promise to my son. This wasn't the end of our story, it was just the beginning of a new one. The divorce papers sat untouched on my kitchen counter for 3 days. My lawyer said they were straightforward, a clean break, joint custody of Oliver, division of assets. Simple. Except nothing about destroying a family is simple. Caleb called again, his 4th attempt today. I let it go to voicemail, like all the others. Instead, I focused on Oliver playing with his blocks on the floor, building towers just to knock them down. Each crash made him giggle, completely unaware that his world was falling apart too. The doorbell rang. I checked my phone, no scheduled visits, no deliveries. Through the peephole, I saw Caleb, looking more disheveled than I'd ever seen him. "Harper, please," he called through the door. 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. I glanced at Oliver, still absorbed in his blocks. "Stay right there, baby," I whispered, stepping onto the porch and closing the door behind me. Caleb looked terrible. His usual pressed shirts and perfect hair replaced by wrinkled clothes and dark circles under his eyes. "You're not answering my calls. I'm busy keeping our son's life as normal as possible. I miss him. I miss you both." He reached for my hand, but I stepped back. "We can fix this. I ended things with Vanessa. Completely. I even requested a transfer to a different department." "Did you tell her about Paris?" The words came out sharp, cutting. "About the apartment you were planning to buy there?" "I saw the real estate emails, Caleb. You weren't just having an affair, you were building a whole other life." His face paled. "Those were just fantasies. I never meant to get caught." I laughed, but it sounded more like a sob. "You know what the worst part is? I keep thinking about all those nights I apologized to Oliver for you missing bedtime. All those times I defended you to my parents. I made excuses for you while you were planning your escape. It wasn't like that." He ran his hands through his hair, a nervous gesture I used to find endearing. "I was lost, Harper. The pressure at work, trying to be the perfect husband and father. I cracked. Vanessa was just convenient? A mistake." His voice cracked. "The biggest mistake of my life. But we have history, Harper. We have Oliver. We can get through this." A car pulled into our driveway, Vanessa's sleek BMW. My heart stopped as she stepped out, designer handbag clutched like armor. "What is she doing here?" I hissed at Caleb. I don't know." He looked genuinely shocked. "I swear, Harper, I didn't." "Save it." I turned to face Vanessa as she approached, her confidence faltering slightly when she saw my expression. "Harper," she started, "I know this is inappropriate, but we need to talk. All of us." "About what?" "How you and my husband planned your perfect Parisian life while I changed diapers." "No, about," she opened her bag, pulling out an envelope. "About this." Inside were more photos, dozens of them. But these weren't of Caleb and Vanessa. They were of Caleb with other women. Different hotels, different cities, different dates. Some from before Vanessa, some after. "He's been lying to both of us," Vanessa said quietly. "I found these on his work laptop yesterday. There are others." I stared at the photos, each one a fresh betrayal. All those business trips, all those late nights. My hands started shaking. "Harper," Caleb stepped toward me, "I can explain." The sound of Oliver's laughter drifted through the front door, innocent and pure. Something inside me hardened. "No," I said, my voice steady. "No more explanations. No more lies." I turned to Vanessa. "Thank you for showing me these. You can keep him." "Harper, please," Caleb reached for me again. "The papers are inside. Sign them by Friday, or I'll make sure every woman you've ever deceived gets their day in court." I opened the front door. "And Caleb?" "Oliver's birthday party is next weekend. Don't come." I walked inside, leaving them both on the porch, and sat down next to my son. He immediately handed me a block, smiling his father's smile. "Build, Mommy," he said simply. So I did, helping him create something new from the pieces of our broken world. The fashion show prep room buzzed with nervous energy. Models rushed between makeup stations while designers made last-minute adjustments. This was my first major event since the separation, and my hands trembled slightly as I applied eyeliner to a willowy blonde. Harper? My client list coordinator appeared, tablet in hand. There's been a change. The lead designer wants you to do Vanessa Reed's makeup. She's closing the show. The eyeliner pencil snapped in my grip. I don't work with homewreckers, I said quietly, keeping my voice steady despite the surge of anger. She specifically requested you. Said you're the best in Seattle. He paused, checking his tablet. It would mean a lot of exposure. She's being featured in Vogue next month. Of course she was. Vanessa always landed on her feet, even after our confrontation. The photos she'd revealed about Caleb's other affairs had done nothing to diminish her own role in destroying my marriage. Fine, I said, surprising myself. Send her over. Vanessa appeared minutes later, wearing a silk robe and an uncertain expression. Harper, Sit. I gestured to the chair, already reaching for my brushes. And don't talk. I need to concentrate. She complied, and I began working. Each stroke of the brush was precise, professional. I could make her beautiful, or I could make her look like a circus clown. The power was intoxicating. I left him, she said suddenly, breaking our tense silence. After those photos. I couldn't trust anything he said. My hand stilled. I'm not your therapist. No, but you're the only one who understands. She met my eyes in the mirror. He's seeing someone new already. Did you know? I didn't, and the knowledge hit harder than expected. My brushstrokes became slightly more aggressive. Some junior executive at his company. 25, fresh out of business school. Vanessa winced as I applied the eyeliner with perhaps too much force. He has a type, doesn't he? Women who admire him, look up to him. Until they realize it's all an act. Stop talking. My voice cracked slightly. Just. Stop. Harper? Lily appeared behind me, concern etched on her face. She'd been helping coordinate the show's logistics. Everything okay here? Fine, I said, adding the final touches to Vanessa's makeup. We're done. You're perfect. Go destroy someone else's life. Vanessa stood, her expression complicated. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. Not just about Caleb. About everything. As she walked away, Lily grabbed my arm. What was that about? And why didn't you tell me she'd be here? I didn't know. I started packing up my supplies, hands shaking. Did you know about Caleb's new girlfriend? Harper. Did you? Lily's silence was answer enough. I pushed past her, needing air, needing space. In the hallway, I bumped into someone, the lead designer. Harper Quinn? Perfect timing. I wanted to discuss using you for our Paris Fashion Week team next month. Paris. Where Caleb and Vanessa had planned their future. Where he was probably taking his new girlfriend now. I need a minute. I rushed toward the exit, ignoring the calls behind me. Outside, the Seattle rain matched my mood. My phone buzzed, a text from my mom, Oliver's having a great time. Don't worry about rushing back. Another buzz. Caleb, can we talk about adjusting the custody schedule? Sarah would like to meet Oliver. Sarah. The new girlfriend had a name. I stared at my reflection in a rain puddle, mascara running down my cheeks. The woman looking back at me seemed foreign, broken, lost. But something else flickered in those eyes. Determination. Rage. Power. My phone buzzed again. The lead designer, Paris offer stands. All expenses paid, 3-week contract. Need answer tonight. I thought about Caleb and his parade of women. About Vanessa and her perfectly made-up face. About Oliver, who deserved a mother he could be proud of. Walking back inside, I found the lead designer. About Paris, I said, my voice stronger than I'd felt in months. I'm in. But I have one condition: I want to do Vanessa's makeup for the entire show. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about destruction. It's about rising above, shining brighter, and showing them exactly what they lost. Paris in December wasn't the romantic dream I'd imagined. Rain pelted the hotel windows as I unpacked my makeup supplies, trying to focus on tomorrow's show. 3 weeks of working alongside Vanessa, my own personal version of hell, dressed up as career advancement. My phone lit up with a video call from home. Oliver's face filled the screen, chocolate smeared across his cheeks. Mommy! Look what Sarah made. Sarah. Of course she was there during Caleb's custody time. My stomach clenched as the camera panned to show elaborate Christmas cookies spread across my former kitchen counter. My kitchen. Where that woman now played happy families with my son. They're beautiful, baby, I managed. Are you being good for Daddy? Sarah's teaching me to decorate. His innocent excitement felt like needles in my heart. When are you coming home? Soon, sweetheart. Just 2 more. The call dropped. Typical Paris hotel Wi-Fi. I tried reconnecting, but messages started flooding in instead. Caleb, Oliver's asking for you. Maybe you should reconsider this Paris thing. Mom, he needs stability right now, not a globetrotting mother. Lily, call me ASAP. Caleb's filing for primary custody. The room spun. I grabbed the desk for support, knocking over my makeup case. Brushes and palettes scattered across the floor like my shattered life. A knock at the door. Vanessa stood there, perfect as always in her model pose. Harper? The designer wants to discuss tomorrow's look. Get out. My voice sounded strange, distant. Are you okay? You look like someone who lost everything? I laughed, harsh and broken. While you're here living your dream career, my ex-husband and his new girlfriend are stealing my son. Vanessa stepped inside, closing the door. Caleb's filing for custody? Don't pretend you care. I started picking up scattered makeup brushes, hands shaking. This is what you wanted, right? To destroy my life? I never wanted. Save it. A brush snapped in my grip. You know what's funny? I thought doing your makeup, making you look perfect for these shows, would be my revenge. Show you both what you lost. But you didn't lose anything, did you? You got your career, your freedom. I'm the one who lost everything. Harper, stop. Vanessa grabbed my hands, forcing me to look at her. Caleb doesn't deserve Oliver. Or you. Or any woman. He's a narcissist who collects people like trophies. I learned that too late, but you're stronger than I ever was. I pulled away. Strong? I'm in Paris doing makeup while another woman bakes cookies with my son. No, you're in Paris building your career while Caleb plays house with his latest victim. She picked up my phone, showing me the cookie photo. Look closer. I did. Behind Oliver's smiling face, I saw what she meant. The kitchen I'd loved was now stark white, my colorful curtains gone, my spice rack replaced with modern minimalism. Sarah's influence, erasing me piece by piece. He's doing to her what he did to us, Vanessa said quietly. Creating the perfect life, the perfect woman. Until she stops being perfect. My phone buzzed again. Lily, don't panic. I've called your lawyer. Sarah's history of job hopping and 3 failed engagements won't look good in court. We've got this. Lily. Always fighting in my corner while I ran away to Paris. The show starts in 12 hours, Vanessa said, gathering my scattered supplies. Make me beautiful. Make me perfect. Then we'll talk about how to handle Caleb. I stared at her, this woman I'd hated for so long. Why would you help me? Because I sent those first photos to you. She met my eyes steadily. I knew what he was doing to others, and I chose you to send them to. Because you seemed strong enough to break the cycle. The makeup brush felt different in my hand now. Not a tool for revenge, but for transformation. For both of us. Sit down, I said, my voice stronger. Let's make you unforgettable. Then you can tell me everything you know about Caleb's patterns. Every detail. Sometimes rock bottom isn't an ending. Sometimes it's where you find your strongest allies and your clearest purpose. The courthouse hallway felt endless. My heels clicked against marble as I approached the mediation room, Lily and my lawyer flanking me like guards. Through the glass, I could see Caleb and Sarah already seated, heads bent together in conversation. Remember, my lawyer whispered, stick to the facts. Don't let him provoke you. I nodded, clutching a manila envelope that contained everything Vanessa had given me in Paris, photos, emails, hotel receipts. A paper trail of destruction that led straight to Caleb's perfectly crafted facade. The door opened. Caleb stood, all corporate charm and practiced concern. Harper, you're looking well. Paris agreed with you. Let's skip the small talk. I sat across from him, noting how Sarah's hand tightened possessively on his arm. She looked younger in person, more vulnerable. Just his type. The mediator began with custody arrangements. Caleb's lawyer presented their case for primary custody, citing my unstable work schedule and international travel commitments. My client can provide consistency, he argued. A stable home environment with his fiancée. Fiancé? The word escaped before I could stop it. Sarah's diamond ring caught the fluorescent light, mocking me. Caleb smiled that familiar smile, the one that used to make me feel special, chosen. We were going to announce it this weekend. Oliver's already calling her mommy. The room tilted. Lily's hand found mine under the table as Caleb continued, it's time to be realistic, Harper. Oliver needs to know the truth? I opened the envelope, sliding the first photo across the table. About his father's pattern of manipulation? Caleb's smile faltered. Sarah leaned forward, confusion clouding her features as she studied the image, Caleb with another woman, dated just 2 weeks ago. This is irrelevant, Caleb's lawyer interjected, but I kept going, laying out photo after photo, email after email. 6 women in the past year, I said quietly. Each one thinking they were special, chosen. Each one manipulated into believing they were the only one. I turned to Sarah. Has he taken you to La Petite Maison in Paris yet? It's his favorite spot for proposals. Sarah's face drained of color. Caleb? She's lying, he snapped, but his mask was cracking. These are obviously doctored. The hotel receipts aren't doctored, I continued. Neither are the credit card statements or the burner phone records. Would you like to explain those? The mediator cleared her throat. Perhaps we should take a break. No. Sarah's voice shook. I want to hear this. She picked up one of the photos, studying it. This was last week. You said you were in Vancouver for work. Caleb stood abruptly, chair scraping against floor. This is ridiculous. I won't sit here and listen to these accusations. Sit down, Mr. Foster, the mediator ordered. Or this mediation ends and we move directly to court proceedings. He sat, but his eyes burned into mine. Why are you doing this? Because Oliver deserves better, I said simply. Better than watching you cycle through women, better than learning that lies and manipulation are normal. Better than becoming you. Sarah stood quietly, slipping off her engagement ring. It clinked against the table as she walked out, dignity intact, but shoulders shaking. "You've ruined everything," Caleb hissed. "No," I corrected him. "You did that yourself. I'm just making sure you can't ruin anyone else." I turned to the mediator. "I have a custody proposal. Joint legal custody, but Oliver's primary residence stays with me. Mr. Foster can have supervised visitation until he completes therapy and parenting classes." Caleb laughed bitterly. "You think this makes you better than me? Destroying my relationship, my reputation? No, Caleb. This makes me different from you. Because unlike you, I'm thinking about Oliver's future, not my revenge." As we left the mediation room, Lily squeezed my hand. "You okay?" I watched Caleb through the glass, alone now, staring at the evidence of his destructive patterns spread across the table. For the first time, he looked small, ordinary, just a man who couldn't stop breaking things. "Yeah," I said, surprising myself by meaning it. "I really am." 1 year later, I sat in my home office, staring at the blinking cursor on my laptop screen. The blog post was almost finished, my 100th entry about surviving betrayal and rebuilding life after divorce. What had started as therapy had somehow become a lifeline for thousands of women going through similar struggles. A notification popped up. "Vanessa Reed liked your post." We'd developed an unexpected friendship since Paris, bonding over our shared experience and determination to warn others about men like Caleb. Her modeling career had taken off, and she'd become an advocate for women's empowerment in the fashion industry. Oliver's laughter drifted through the open window. He was playing in the backyard with Caleb, their first unsupervised visit since the custody agreement. I watched them from my desk, noting how Caleb had changed. The designer suits were gone, replaced by casual clothes and genuine smiles. Therapy had stripped away his perfect facade, revealing something more human underneath. My phone buzzed. A text from Sarah: "Thank you for saving me from making a huge mistake. Getting married next month to someone real. Would love for you to do my makeup for the wedding." I smiled, remembering how she'd reached out months ago, wanting to understand what had happened. We'd met for coffee, two women healing from the same man's manipulation. Her engagement ring now belonged to someone who deserved her trust. "Harper?" Lily appeared in my doorway, carrying 2 glasses of wine. "Your parents just called. They want to know if you're still coming to dinner tonight. Wouldn't miss it." I saved my blog post and closed the laptop. Dad's making his famous pot roast. The same pot roast from that awful dinner when everything started falling apart? The very same. I took a glass from her, remembering that night. Who would have thought that was actually the beginning of everything coming together? Outside, Oliver squealed as Caleb pushed him on the swing. Higher and higher, but not too high. Caleb was learning boundaries, finally understanding that love wasn't about possession or perfection. "Your latest post is trending," Lily noted, scrolling through her phone. "The one about forgiveness, not meaning reconciliation. It's what everyone struggles with most." I watched Oliver jump from the swing into Caleb's arms. Learning that you can forgive someone while still choosing yourself. The doorbell rang. My date for dinner, a kind-eyed photographer I'd met at Fashion Week. We were taking things slowly, both carrying our own histories, both understanding that trust is earned in small moments rather than grand gestures. "Time to go in," I called out the window. Oliver ran inside, Caleb following more slowly. "Thanks for today," he said, lingering in the doorway. "And for everything else." The therapy recommendations, the second chance with Oliver. "We're both doing better this way," I replied simply. After they left, Oliver for his playdate, Caleb to his own life, my date to reschedule for another time, I returned to my laptop. The cursor still blinked, waiting for me to finish my story. I typed, "Revenge isn't always about destruction. Sometimes it's about reconstruction, building yourself into something stronger than before. Sometimes the best revenge is simply living well, loving deeply, and letting go of the perfect picture you thought your life would be." Lily read over my shoulder. "That's it? That's how you're ending it?" "No," I said, adding one final line, "because the end of one story is just the beginning of another. And this time, I'm writing my own." I hit publish and stood up, ready for dinner with my parents. Ready for whatever came next. The manila envelope of Caleb's indiscretions still sat in my desk drawer, untouched for months. I didn't need it anymore. Its purpose had been served, not just in saving me, but in saving others too. Outside, the sunset painted Seattle in shades of possibility. My phone buzzed with notifications as the blog post went live. Each one representing someone else finding their way through darkness toward something real. Sometimes the happiest endings aren't about getting everything you wanted, but about discovering what you actually needed. And sometimes, just sometimes, those two things turn out to be completely different stories.